The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
The New York Jets worked out Tai Simpson privately down in Tuscaloosa, and ESPN Jets reporter Rich Cimini has the latest details on what went down. Paul Fiore will join me. We'll talk all things Jets. It is the Jake Asman Show, live on a Saturday. Let's hit it and get it started.
You take him, you hate him. 16th pick, trade up for him. At Alabama, only 15 starts. And Combine does Jets champ.
Jets, Jets.
Oh, yeah. Happy Saturday. It is the Jake Asman Show, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Click that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are approaching 45,000 subscribers. I'm at 44,825 as of this live show. So please help us out. Help us get to 45K. Click the subscribe button and be along for the ride. We have our draft party live in Pittsburgh coming up in less than a month. So make sure if you're coming out to McFadden's, you RSVP. All the info is in the description. Free to attend the NFL draft. Free to attend our all-day-long draft party at McFadden's, which is located right down the street from where all the festivities are being held. Let's talk Tai Simpson. Let's talk draft. Let's talk Jets with a good friend of the program. It's our pal, Paul Fiore, who's got an awesome YouTube channel that everyone should go subscribe to. Jets Talk Now. Paul, happy Saturday. Draft less than a month away. What's going on?
Happy Saturday. Not much, man. Just, I can't believe we still have almost 4 weeks of waiting for the draft, because I can't imagine what else is going to be talked about in the next 3.5 weeks. And Jets Twitter just fighting over the, Bendgate is hilarious. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting time.
I have never seen like the off-season elements of the lead up to the draft be covered the way they're now being covered. Like just how much fans are paying attention to pro day workouts. Like the fact that there was a legit outcry from a portion of the fan base over the bend or lack thereof of Arvell Reese because of a still shot in a drill comparing him to a different prospect. We have never seen heightened attention on pro days like we've seen during this cycle.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, I'm in the position right now where I'm like, look, at the second pick, you can justify any one of Bain, Bailey, Reese, Styles. And like, I'm not going to have outrage over any of those picks. Like there are some people that are just dead set against, Reese or Bain or Bailey. And it's just, I just look at it. I'm like, look, it's an interesting conversation. But to me, the more important conversation is at 16, not at 2.
I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually more nervous what they can do at 16 because of this Tai Simpson discourse than I am with that second pick. I'll get your thoughts, of course, on pick 2 and everything. I want to remind people, if you're watching live, it is a Saturday show, which means our weekly raffle will be at the end of the stream. You'll have one last chance during the show to enter to win a signed Joe Namath helmet, signed Darrelle Revis helmet, and a signed Breece Hall helmet. And exclusive for people watching live on a Saturday, anyone who enters the raffle during this show has a chance at the 3 prizes at the end and a Jets jersey of your choosing. Joe Namath, Joe Klecko, Curtis Martin, Wayne Corbett, Darrelle Revis, the late, great Nick Mangold, and Keyshawn Johnson are your options. We got some interesting reporting from my new co-host on the Jets Collective podcast, Rich Cimini. He was on ESPN's Sports Center and NFL Live yesterday, and Rich Cimini provided some interesting nuggets on what specifically happened at Tai Simpson's private workout with the Jets brass. Here's Cimini yesterday on ESPN.
Yeah, Field, the first thing to note that I think is important is who was at the workout. The Jets sent their top 2 decision makers, Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn, and also their 2 resident quarterback gurus, Frank Reich and Bill Musgrave. So that tells me something right there. And also last night, they had dinner with Tai Simpson just to get to know him on a personal level. And I know from being around Aaron Glenn, that's important to him because he, of all people, knows what it takes to play in New York and how hard it is to be the quarterback of the Jets. So they want to find out if that person has those special intangibles that you're looking for. And then presumably they gave him a play sheet and with their plays and some of the concepts they like to run in their passing attack. And then the next morning, this morning, they test him on those plays to find out what kind of retention he has, put him on the whiteboard and see what kind of memory he has. Look, I've been around the organization a long time. Based on what I know, I'd be a little surprised if they took him at 16, only because they have so many other needs. And I do know this, Field. With 3 number 1 picks in next year's draft, the Jets do not feel like they are pressured to take someone this year. So they're going into it with that mentality.
Assuming Rich is right, and I have no reason to think he wouldn't be with his reporting, that's the right approach the Jets should have, right? They should be doing their due diligence. People are going, oh my God, they're going to take Tai because they're working him out privately. That's what you want. You want them to do their due diligence. You want them to get to know the player. What if he's not there at 16 or they don't want him at 16, but he happens to make it to 33 and you're like, you know what, at 33, we're willing to roll the dice and take a chance on him there. Anyone freaking out or saying, oh, they're going to take Tai, for those who don't want Tai, I know some just say take him at 16. This is what they should be doing. This is the bare minimum you're expecting an NFL franchise to operate with, to put all the resources, do all the due diligence when you're talking about potentially selecting a player that plays the most important position in sports. So anyone upset that they're doing a workout with Tai Simpson and they're bringing Musgrave and Frank Reich with Glenn and Muji to watch it up close, what are you talking about, man? This is exactly what they should be doing, whether they draft him or not.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be killing them if they weren't doing these things. I mean, like, last year, I felt they needed to draft a quarterback and take a swing, and they didn't, right? And everyone's like, well, they got Brady Cook, and we saw what that was. The Jets are coming off a 3-win season. And yeah, they have Geno Smith for a year on a cheap contract, but you have to do your diligence on all these guys. And, you know, aside from the fact that then, you know, Fernando Mendoza, we know, is gone. Like, you know, I was watching a report the other day where they were basically saying he's already working on the offensive install, right? So, you know, Tai Simpson makes sense from the perspective of we just don't know where he's going to fall. And so I'm not freaking out in any way that they're doing these things. Like, they met with Drew Aller, they had him in for a workout at you know, at Florham Park. They spent time at Carson back. They should do this with every single prospect that is in the quarterback position. Makes zero sense not to. They need to draft somebody. I don't think they should be drafting him in the first round. I don't necessarily even want to draft him. And you're a little different than me. You're okay with him going at 33. My view of the world right now is the Jets need 4 starters in these 4 draft picks. I just feel they need so much that we should build up for the quarterback in 27 and take a swing later in the draft. But I'm not freaking out that they're meeting with him. Does it mean that they couldn't draft him? No. There's a chance. I mean, he's an intriguing prospect from his mindset and attitude. And the first 8 games of the season last year, he arguably was looked like the best quarterback, in college football. He could be an intriguing guy that, when they get with him in the room and they talk with him, that they fall in love with the prospect. It's possible.
And the big thing is, and Rich noted it in that report, the personality. You got to get to know the guy. There's a difference in being the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans and the quarterback of the New York Jets. There just is. Like, there's a different level of scrutiny, pressure, the media market, and the fan base, the unrest that is in the fan base in particular. It's a lot. And I think Zach Wilson came in as a very confident, excited to be in New York, take on the challenge type of kid, and he couldn't handle it. And like, the wall's going to cave in and it zaps you of your confidence. I think that happened with Sam Darnold as well. I think you need the right person who can handle the bleep storm that is playing quarterback for the Jets in this market. And I don't know Tai personally. Their job is to get to know him, to decide, hey, if we like the talent enough to take him, whether it be at 16 or trade back into the end of the round 1 or take him at 33, whatever the circumstance is, that box needs to be checked off that they think he can handle playing quarterback in New York, because not everyone can, and that needs to be a part of the evaluation. Yeah,
100%. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think, you think, any of us in the fan base thinks. If they meet with this kid and they see the things that we're talking about, he's got the mental makeup, he processes well, we think that he's a high-level talent, we could be a top top half of the NFL quarterback and we want to take our swing, then so be it. That's their decision. I struggle with believing they'll do it just because it doesn't feel like it meets the timeline. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping they lean on Frank Reich and Musgrave to make this decision ultimately, because it feels like Glenn is literally handing the offense to him and saying, you need to do this, right? And so you like to believe that Reich is going to get the guy he wants to be able to develop. If they believe Simpson's the guy, look, I'm not going to like the pick. I'll root hard for the kid and hope that I'm wrong. But I just think that there's going to be a position there. The problem with drafting him at 16 to me is the Jets are a 3-win team last year and Glenn's on the hot seat. If they get off to a terrible start, the pressure to put him in the game is going to be massive. And he may not be ready for that. And so we're going to wind up rushing a kid who likely needs time. And what's the outcome going to wind up being, right? And you've invested how much time, effort, and money into the 16th pick to take a quarterback that now you have a terrible season again. And what happens in 27? You just basically threw away the 16th pick. I just struggle with it. And again, it's not because I don't like the prospect. I just wish he was like, for me, the 16th pick is normally you're a 6-win, 7-win, 8-win team. You can go get a guy like him and develop him. The 16th pick for the Jets is not the normal 16th pick. That's just the way the Jets need a wide receiver or some receiving threat desperately. They didn't do anything in free agency for that position. To me, that's where you need to go get someone opposite Garrett Wilson desperately.
And the part of it that I seem to struggle with when some say, including people I like and even work with, I'm talking about you, Mike Tannenbaum, I'll play his cut for you in a moment to get your thoughts, Paul, is when people say, well, you have 3 first-round picks in 2027, so you could just roll the dice on a guy like Ty this year. And that's such bad logic. Like, taking a quarterback at 16 is way different than, you draft the quarterback every year. Yeah, you maybe take one on day 2 or day 3 and add to the pipeline. 16th overall is not just, you just roll the dice because you got 3 first-round picks next year. You're not going to take 3 quarterbacks in 2027, so that logic is flawed. And the reason why they have the 16th overall pick is because they traded a 2-time first-team All-Pro corner. So you need to turn 16 into a player that could help you for the long haul. If your logic is, we like Ty, so let's just roll the dice and draft him because you just keep drafting till you get someone, that's such a poor way to run your team. And in this cut I'm about to play, that's basically what Mike Tannenbaum said when asked why it's a, quote, no-brainer that the Jets should take Tai Simpson at 16, which you and I vehemently disagree with.
Absolutely think they should take Tai Simpson at 16 if he's there. Look, they're not going to take him at 2. That's well documented. They have 4 shots on goal, 16 and 3 next year. And when you have a productive, high-character quarterback, as you do with Tai Simpson, you absolutely need to take him if you're the Jets. The verb is scour. You got to keep going until you find one. I thought his combine workouts spoke volumes of his ability to get the ball down the field. He's an underrated athlete we're looking at here. And if you're the Jets, I love Mekhi Lepton. I don't like Lemon. I love him. I think he's a dominant tier 1 wide receiver. But until you have a starting quarterback at the Jets long-term behind Geno Smith, you got to take as many shots as possible. There's a lot to like about Tai Simpson's game. I think he's a no-brainer at 16.
No-brainer to me. It's just crazy. There is, and Mike is right. There are things to like about Ty, but the things to like about him is why I think many in the fan base, myself included, are like, okay, they took him in the 2nd round. I'd understand it. But notice Mike doesn't mention in that cut there the just clear outlier that Ty would be if they were to take him at 16, given the just lack of starts he's made in college football. Not to mention the fact it's not like, he'd be this like outlier physically and you could justify it that way. Like Ty's ability to play is, he's a great processor. He can make all these NFL throws, but it's not like it's Cam Newton who was like this physical specimen. It could take over games with just sheer athletic ability. Like, to me, it's just too many risks to justify pick 16. And then for when Mike says, well, you got 3 shots on goal the following year, that's all the reason to not just reach for a quarterback because you don't need to do it. You could build your team. And I don't think any Jet fan is like, Darren Muji, you better get the long-term answer at quarterback this offseason or else. No one's talking about the Jets in terms of that. It's all about the 2027 class because that's how they positioned their organization.
It's challenging to hear him say it like that as someone who was a GM. That's the hard part for me because, they have 3 first-round picks in 2027. Is there a guarantee that those guys get to make those picks? Like, or what are we doing here? This is not year 1 of their regime. They won 3 games last year. everyone has acknowledged they need to be better. So if you let's just play it out. You draft Tai Simpson at 16. Geno is washed. Let's just say Geno is washed. And now you go to Tai because you need to figure out whether Tai can be the guy. So it's game 5 or 6 and Simpson's playing and he's not the guy. So now you had Fields who wasn't the guy, right? You won 3 games in year 1. You took a swing at the QB at 16 and he's not the guy. Is Muji getting year 3? He's not. So like, it's weird to me that a guy like Tannenbaum, who was a GM for years, doesn't understand the simple logic, which to me is you have 3 first-round picks in 2027. There's a good chance the Colts might be really bad. There's a good chance of that, right? Jones coming off the Achilles. We know year 1 after an Achilles usually not good. That team is not a very. I don't feel strongly about that team in a positive way. They have a tough schedule. The Jets need to be competent this year. How do you become competent? Make 4 really good first and second round picks that can impact your football team. Win some games. Show that Glenn can actually be the guy, and then you have your 3 first-round picks next year. That gives you all the ammunition you need to go get a quarterback. It just, again, it's not that I don't like Tai Simpson. I don't like Tai Simpson for the Jets because I don't think the Jets are in the position to make this decision.
I think that's well said. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. How we feeling about the latest reports on the Jets' interest in Tai Simpson? Cimini saying it's notable that they brought Frank Reich in, that they brought Bill Musgrave in. It's notable that they took him out to dinner. They're not doing that for all these quarterback prospects. So clearly they like Tai enough to be putting in the work with a month to go until the NFL draft. If you guys are watching live, make sure you click on the thumbs up button and you are subscribed to the channel. We are presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Paul's a Yankee fan. I'm a Yankee fan. Yankees looking to start the season 3-0, going for the sweep against the Giants tonight in the Bay Area. You could bet on the game and any MLB game with our sponsor, FanDuel Sportsbook. Yankees a 1.5 run favorite over at FanDuel. How about the fact the Yankees have yet to allow a run this season, Paul? Back-to-back shutouts. The first time in franchise history to start the year.
I mean, how good does Schlittler look? Jeez. I mean, he's nasty. So, yeah, when you get Cole back and you get Rodon back, that top 4 of the rotation, I mean, that's going to be a lot to mess with. Now, we got other issues. We'll see. But, you know, I feel like at least on the pitching side, that they look unbelievably strong. We'll see. Running back that offense, I'm a little bit worried about what happens in the playoffs. But, you know, at least we get to talk about playoffs every year as a Yankee fan, as opposed to what we deal with as a Jet fan.
Yep, the Yankees trying to get over the hump, and the Jets just can't get anywhere. they just
They're
go
just staring up at the hump.
This is a great comment I saw here. This is from the great Henny Heisman, who says, I took a girl out to dinner last night, but it's not going anywhere, just like Tai. Do you see any resemblance here in the Jets whining and dining Tai Simpson and Hennessy apparently having a date night last night that also didn't go anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, there's possibly how many times have people had bad first dates? I mean, it's definitely true. But you know, look, I'll be honest. I do think there's a world, and I'm not saying it'll happen. I do think there's a world where this kid bowls him over. I do. I think there's the chance that maybe they don't take him at 16, but maybe they trade back into the first round to get him. I think there's a chance of that happening. I do.
I do too, because again, if they like him, they're not going to be like, we could say wait till 27, but if Muji gives the go ahead that, hey, I like this guy enough. I was in Denver. I saw Bo Nix up close. I see some similarities in this player's game into what I had. He's in play for the Jets, whether people want to admit it or not. Now, maybe another team just takes him before the Jets are willing to select him, whether that be before 16 or maybe it's the Cardinals thinking the same thing we're thinking. Oh, the Jets might take him. We got to trade up in front of them at the end of round 1 to get him. That's all fine. Like, that's all in play. And it wouldn't shock me if he's a Jet. And if they don't draft him, I wouldn't be shocked. I truly think he's in play. And anyone just thinking it's a giant smokescreen, I don't think it's a smokescreen. We're not at that point yet. They're doing their due diligence. They truly are trying to figure out whether or not they want to select them.
They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, it's just the end of the day. And if they draft the kid, you know, again, they better hope they're right. Now, if again, they draft him at 33, I don't think he's going to be there. I think he's gone. I think you got teams after 16, they're going to draft him. I think the Browns are a possibility. The Steelers are a possibility. It is multiple teams. But when you're sitting at 33, if you're looking at it going, look, we really like this kid. We like him to sit behind Geno. going from 33 to let's say 26, 25 to get back into the first round, get the 5th-year option on them because you really like them. You can't kill them for that. Like, that's their job, is to make that decision. Again, I personally don't want them at 16, but if you tell me you got to package 44 or 33 and, another pick to get back into the first round to get him, and you come out of this with, one of the studs at defense, let's call it Reese, you get yourself a wide receiver at 16, and then you decide you get Simpson at the late first round, in a lot of ways that mirrors the Sanchez draft, right? So, I'm not going to kill them for that. Again, they better have a damn plan, man. Like, there's been too many of these guys we draft. They're not ready. They get thrown out there. And Tai just feels like that. He's played 15 games in college. And I know he sat for a long time at Alabama and learned, but that's not the same thing. So it's like, I don't know. I'm a fan of the kid. I like him. I love his mindset. I just wish the Jets were a more stable foundation that he could actually, grow into the position. I just don't know if they're going to have the patience.
Jets, Jets.
We know he could do the Jet chant, so
we do know that.
Did they take him? Because we have no choice as Jet fans. Joe the Jet with a super chat. Our first of the show. Joe the Jet, you're the man. Hey, hello, listener appreciation. We have our weekly raffle at the end. All $5 super chats will get you a raffle ticket in our 3 raffle giveaway at the end here. We got a Brees signed helmet, Revis signed helmet, and our grand prize, the GOAT, Broadway Joe Namath autograph helmet by number 12. Joe says to me, Tai Simpson is not Zach Wilson. He's Mark Sanchez. Well, I mean, the similarities are there on the chart I put together here. Tai Simpson would be one of these outliers here of fewer starts to go in the first round over the last 25 years. Look at the list. It's Mark Sanchez, it's Cam Newton, Dwayne Haskins, Mitch Trubisky, Anthony Richardson. You very rarely see any quarterback with only a year of starting go in the first round. And Tai, he's not small, but he's 6'1". It's not like he's like Cam Newton, who's like 6'5", and like he's like built like an Adonis. It's just a different type of pick if you're going to select him 16th overall. 33, I could live with it. I would understand it. I'm just out on 16.
Yeah. I mean, I think again, I align, and I saw somebody compare. I saw what you just posted. He's not Zach Wilson. I think it's unfair when people say, "Oh, this is Zach Wilson 2.0." I don't think that's fair. He's played way better competition. The Zach Wilson pick was such a fascinating one. It was during COVID. They didn't get a chance to really do the diligence you normally get to do. It's just like last year when people were comparing Jackson Dart to Zach Wilson. Like, let's stop, right? Like, Jackson Dart was a more accomplished college football player than Zach Wilson. Tai Simpson, I think, has way more upside than Zach Wilson and played a lot better competition. Doesn't mean that they should pick him, but let's not disparage the kid by comparing him to one of the biggest busts that's existed in Jet history. Like, it's not right. And I also don't think it's right when people compare Aller to Hackenberg. I don't think that's fair either. I'm not saying Aller is going to be, this miraculous find, but they're not the same guys. Like, Aller had a way better college career than Hackenberg. Aller's got way more physical traits than Hackenberg. Whether he can actually put it together and become a good quarterback, I don't know that. But I don't think it's fair. Like, we have a tendency in today's society to just like put these comparisons on these guys as like we're going to go to these extremes and make them seem like they just are incapable of. But I mean, you never know. Like, quarterback is such a boom or bust position in the NFL. And, as much as I love Mendoza, he could be a complete bust. We don't know. And people are like, well, Tom Brady loves him because he sees him in him. Sure. I understand the comparison from that perspective, but let's not call him Tom Brady either. So it's just, this is what we do today. And I just feel like, just look at the prospect for who he is. And I think Tai Simpson's a talented kid who has a lot of things to like, who may not be a good fit for the Jets today and where they are. That's just the way I view it. Now, again, round 2, I feel very differently. I wouldn't do it still just because, again, I want to build my team, but I wouldn't be outraged in any way if they say, look, he's sitting here at 33, we should just take him. But I think it's more likely if he starts to fall into the 20s, someone's trading back into round 1 to get him, is what I think would happen.
Totally could see that. As far as the other quarterbacks go, do you have a preference on a swing on a day 3 guy? You mentioned Aller, you Carson Beck guy, Cole Payton. I mean, everyone knows the names. We've been talking about them for months already. Do you have a preference on a swing the Jets could potentially take if they don't go with Ty at some point here?
So it's interesting because there's the school of thought is, are you drafting for a backup quarterback or are you drafting for the swing? Because I think they're two different things. If you're drafting for the backup quarterback, Carson Beck's probably the right choice because he's probably got the highest floor of all these guys, right? But I don't think he has the higher ceiling. I think he's a guy that's got an arm that's average at best. You know, after that UCL surgery, his arm is not the same. We kind of know who he is. You know, I am an Aller guy just because prior to last year, I just felt like this, you know, 6'5" with a cannon of an arm doesn't grow on trees. I'd take a swing in the 4th round. Now, he's probably going to go sooner than that. So if he goes in round 3, I don't trade up to get him. But like for me, I like Aller, I think more just because I'm drafting on the highest ceiling. And you know, all these other guys are a little bit undersized except for Beck, right? Like, and then you got Talon Green, who's this like freak of nature, physical specimen, and I don't know if he can throw the football, right? So it's like, I struggle with it. At the end of the day, like Frank Reich, again, to me, it's like, Frank, pick your swing of who you want to work with. But I would be disappointed if it was Beck, just because to me, Beck is not a guy that you're drafting who has the super high upside. He's a guy that's your backup. A guy like Aller, who was under, I think, terrible offensive system. He had one really solid receiving threat in Penn State during his time. I would be intrigued by, but I don't know. Can he process? Can he understand the, like, it's just one of those challenges to me.
Veteran Jet fan, Aller has a Northeast QB profile, strong arm, good mobility, 35 starts, 26-9 record, only 13 picks in those 35 starts. He needs work, though, mechanically. I could see the Jets liking him because they might look at the tool set and say, it's a worthwhile swing on day 3. We have Frank Reich, we have Bill Musgrave, we have a veteran in Gino who could help him. Like, there's some veterans that are around the Jets from a coaching and player standpoint that, hey, maybe Aller could be put in the right situation and could develop long-term. I wouldn't hate it. I just don't think anyone besides Simpson is worthy of a 1st round or 2nd round conversation.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's weird to me how polarizing a 4th round draft pick quarterback swing is in our fan base right now. But guys like Aller, man, I'll post something on Aller and it's crazy how emotional people will get about it, you know? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's a swing. If you draft a guy in the 4th round and he works out as a quarterback, that's a home run as a GM. That's your GM's, greatest gift to have that happen. But you're not getting fired if you draft Drew Aller and he turns out to be crap. I mean, like it is what it is. Again, at the end of the day, these are swings. Not one of these guys to me is someone that you look at and go, yeah. With the right coaching, they can be a long-term starter in the NFL. So who cares if you draft somebody in the 4th, 5th, or 6th round and it doesn't, like, they have so many draft picks. Like, if we're worried about what they do in the 4th or 5th round and it doesn't work out, like, then something went wrong in the beginning of the draft.
100%. I mean, look, they got 4 picks in the top 44, and that's before they potentially move out. Maybe they move up. I talked about that yesterday. Everyone's talking about them trading back. Well, what if they're doing a little combo play, Paul? How would you feel about 16 and 44? Move up in the 7 to 10 range, get the stud receiver they want. Maybe it's Carnell Tate, let's say, in this hypothetical. And then, we had pick 33, move out, get a 3rd, recoup what we traded up, and we're going to continue to stack the deck with our draft class.
I mean, if anything we noticed at this point is Muji's not afraid to trade. So if we sit here thinking they're going to take 9 picks in this draft, I think that we're all just sadly, like, that's just I think impossibility. There's no doubt in my mind this man's going to make trades. He's proven to love to make moves, and he has the 2nd most trades in the league since he's become GM, as I recall. I think it's very likely you see movement with somewhere in that 33, 44, or even the 103, 144 range, where they may go back into the third round. I think that's a possibility too. Like, you could see them doing something. There's such a gap from 44 to 103. I wouldn't be surprised if they find a way back into the third round.
Comments, questions, super chats, they cut the line. If you have a draft-related question or statement, take you want to make, write it in. We'll bring it up on the screen. Super chats cut the line. Weekly raffle at the end of the show for the 3 signed items, plus a separate raffle for anyone watching live here on a Saturday for a Jets Legends jersey. Keyshawn, Mangold, Revis, Corbett, Martin, Klecko, and Namath are your choices. Let's get to Asmaniac Madness now this morning. I know a lot of people are excited about the round of 32 getting underway. Paul, I know you're locked in every day to the greatest tournament in sports. The round of 32 and Asmaniac Madness will get underway shortly. The bracket is set. We start with the inside-outside region. Top left is where we begin. Take a look, folks. It's Kyle Clifton and Rob the Jet Fan to lead off the start of the round of 32. Monday morning, Peter Castro against David T in the 5 versus 4 battle. We'll have Rookie NY and the Lane Train Monday afternoon, and then Tuesday AM, Chef Kevin and Neil, before we get to the next region, the round of 32 in the Dangerous Alliance region. Leany and Thunderlips will start that one off Tuesday afternoon. With that, though, it's time to vote, folks. The number 1 overall seed, Kyle Clifton. The number 8 seed, Rob the Jet Fan. Your votes determine who advances to the Sweet 16. Asmaniac Madness, the round of 32 is officially underway.
Who's gonna be the best of the bunch? Asmaniac Madness. You get to pick the ones that make the show walk.
Vote, vote, vote. Your vote determines who's moving on. Do you have a preference, Paul, in your Asmaniac hierarchy, who you'd like to see cut down the nets in our second ever Asmaniac Madness tournament?
Yeah, I mean, look, it sounds like I'm running on a front runner here because I'm not usually, but Kyle's a great caller, and I just think he's, if I look at the remaining, and everyone's very worthy, but I think Kyle's probably the strong favorite for a reason, and so I think he's probably going to win. I think he's going to win the whole thing.
Love that. Love that take. And I think it's tough to argue. Kyle Clifton's got the resume. He's got the passion. And we will hear from Kyle coming up shortly. Doc Jet Fan cuts the line with this super chat. He's in the raffle at the end of our show. For one, I think it becomes emotionally easier to take swings in the draft when you accept the fact that everyone is a swing. There is no sure thing in the NFL. So I agree with this, but I think you could just look at certain positions and understand there's risk associated with more positions than other ones. For instance, quarterback is by far and away the biggest crapshoot in the draft to get right. And when you have clear data that shows you taking a guy with this little starts in the first round is overwhelmingly a bad idea, that needs to be a part of the conversation, even though for sure there's no guarantee that anyone they pick at 16 instead of Ty would end up being a better football player overall. I think the draft's about risk assessment. And I think if you're the Jets, especially if you're Muji, knowing your job's not on the line to get the quarterback now, you could wait a year from now and be positioned to do it. In all likelihood, you'll get that chance. I think that is human nature going to be a part of their decision-making as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with the statement. And again, we said it in the beginning, quarterback is the biggest boom or bust position in first rounds in history. Look at it. But let's just say Tyson falls to 16 and the Jets draft him, right? And he fails. You can survive that. If you draft Simpson at 16 after having Fields with your first swing at quarterback and you fail there, I don't think Muji gets a third crack at the quarterback. And I think that's just the reality of it. And, I saw somebody post earlier, well, what's the plan if Geno stinks? Well, look, if the plan is if Geno stinks, you play Tai Simpson in game 5, it's going to be bad anyway, likely. I mean, it just likely is. So, to me, you're going with Geno to try to become competent. If Geno stinks, you're likely going to be bad, no matter who you draft as the quarterback, either as a backup or you bring in a veteran. And it's likely that all these guys are going to be gone. It's just, I mean, maybe not Muji, but I don't know. But Glenn needs a 6-7 win season in my mind. So Geno's being terrible probably means they're all not going to be there. That's coaching staff's not going to make it. So I just look at it from like, they didn't bring in another veteran backup quarterback yet. It feels like Tyrod or Cooper Rush or one of those types of guys is going to come in here as your backup quarterback. I don't see drafting Tai Simpson as your backup being the thing that saves your job. It can only reason why I say this is because I don't think he's going to be ready to play early. So I don't see him saving your job. I see saving your job, getting the first 4 picks right, having a competent defense, winning 6 or 7 games, having the foundation in place so you can go get your quarterback in 27. That's just my personal view of it. Again, they draft the kid. I'm all in, right? I'm going to be all in for him, and I'm going to want him to be successful. I'm not going to jump to conclusions with his first terrible game because we all know what's going to happen. Just like Aaron Judge in game 1 strikes out 4 times and everyone's saying he's washed. It's, it's the ridiculous hot take moment. If Tai Simpson is the guy, as soon as he starts to play, you got to give him the opportunity to actually prove that he can be the guy. And I just, in this market with our fan base and how bad we've been, I mean, it doesn't matter who you draft, truthfully. Even in 27, they'll draft someone who's going to be considered the savior. But I'd much rather the guy they draft in 27 comes into a situation where you have a really good team around him who needs the quarterback versus a team that won 3 games, is full rebuild mode right now, and a fan base that's starving for anything to be good. I think they're going to jump all over this kid the minute he's out on the field. Just the way I feel.
Let's get to your calls, shall we? As Maniac Madness is underway, cast your vote. And up first today is the number 1 overall seed in this year's tournament. Let's say hello to Kyle Clifton.
Hello? I can't hear you.
Kyle, hello.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Oh, we hear you. Call back, Kyle. Call back.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good.
There he is.
There was a little blip there for a second.
Good job.
Thanks for the kind words, Paul. I appreciate it. I agree. I don't think Simpson's going to be there. If he were there at 33, you'd snap him up because I think it's worth the risk there. It's worth the swing. But I don't see trading up for him. I don't see taking him at 2 or 16. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen more talk about taking edge at 16 and maybe going in a different direction at 2. Like, if that's where Falk and Mesidor might come off the board in the middle of the first round, then why wouldn't you take Styles, or why wouldn't you take the best wide receiver at 16 and then look for a guy like Parker at 33, or trade back and get more picks, right? And take a Zion Young in the second round later. Like, I think that's really the benefit of this draft, is the flexibility, right? And even the ability to go into like future years that aren't 2027, right? To move up and move around. Like, if you want to like really accelerate this rebuild, I think you have the ability to do that. And maybe it's not a top of the line pick in 2027. Maybe it's a third rounder that helps you jump up 2 spots to get the guy that you want. I wanted to hear your thoughts about that. Like, I haven't heard diddly squat about a guy like going to the Jets at 16, and I kind of feel like that's a possibility that he would be there.
Paul, go ahead.
Guys.
Yeah, I mean, no. So I thought I saw something yesterday. They're meeting with Young, right? I thought they were meeting with Young. I think they're bringing him in for one of their 30. he might be there at 33, right? Like, you know, I look, the way I look at it, Kyle, like for me at 2, I mean, do you think you would take a wide receiver at 2?
I don't,
Would you
but I
take
think
Tate?
I might take Styles.
You would take Styles at 2.
I wouldn't take Tate. I would take Styles at 2.
Yeah, I could see
Because, I mean,
Styles at 2. I could.
He's the cleanest player to me, right? Like that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, and if you're in the business of minimizing risk this year, because you know you're going to have to take a risky swing next year with the quarterback, then Styles to me might be the pick at 2. And then I think that gives you the ability to kind of game the board a little bit, and with the other 3 picks in the top 45.
I think to me it's 16. What'll be interesting at 16 is do all the top 3 wide receivers go before the Jets pick at 16? Because if that happens, then you're left in a situation. Do you take a Sadiq? Do you jump and go, all right, well, I like Denzel Boston and I'm willing to go take him at 16. I think he needs to be further down the board, even though his size profile is awesome. I'm a little bit, you know, I don't think he should go that high. So I think it's possible, Kyle, like if they go at 2 and they get like a Styles, and I don't disagree. I think Styles is a great football player. I think it's possible when you get to 16, if Tyson, Tate, and Lemon are gone, I think anything is possible. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Personally.
What about Cooper, Paul?
Yeah, I mean,
I like Omar Cooper. I like him. You know what the problem for me is? Like those 3 feel like they're one tier. They're a tier above. I think those other guys feel like they're late round 1 into round 2 players. And then like the question becomes, is Denzel Boston or Cooper that much better than the next tier below that you could potentially get in round 2, like a Concepcion and, you know, Surratt, people like that. So it's like, it becomes, I think it's best player available at that point at 16. So I'm kind of with Kyle a little bit. Like I want a wide receiver at 16. But if those 3 guys are gone, I made a point the other day, and I actually think it's not crazy. I would be very open to taking Sadiq at 16. I would not like that dude. I mean, that's just, we don't have that type of player. We just don't. And you know, I could see him, like I like Mason Taylor. I think he's a good football player. Sadiq is a really, really interesting football player. And I think he's still 20 years old. Like, I don't know. Like for me, like I want best player available, but I'd lean towards the pass catcher just because the Jets, how many years are we going to let Garrett Wilson be on his own? Like Garrett Wilson, if he's on his own again this year, we might maybe want to get traded. So like, I just feel like we need to take some of the pressure away from Garrett and make sure that he's got someone on the field that is another threat.
I do think we might be able to get him a decent running partner at 33, though. That's one thing I'll say. Like, this is a deep receiver draft, and it's just a matter of what flavor you like. I feel like if those 3 receivers are off, and say someone jumps up ahead of us because they're afraid we're going to take Simpson, that there might be a defender there that you would not expect to be there. Like, and I don't know if that's Elaine or like, you know, someone or Down. Like, I have no idea who it is. I don't expect it would be Downs, but like, who knows? Weird things happen in the draft, and it's always about position value for a lot of teams. So,
yeah.
That's how I feel about it. And then as far as the matchup today goes, good luck to Rob from Glen Head. You can see from my background, I've reclaimed my house for our matchup, and this is going to be a fun one. I really appreciate your time, guys.
Kyle, the Keyshawn Johnson jersey, the throwback, looks good on you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Jake. It was something that I was eagerly awaiting, and then when I got it, it lived up to my expectations. So
I love
thanks
it.
again.
Well, Kyle, you're the man. Good luck in your matchup.
Asmaniac Madness is underway. Make sure you vote to make your voice heard.
Hit the like button, comments, questions, super chats. Cut the line. Paul Fiore hanging out with us here. Snoopy is in the Asmaniac raffle for 2. If you want to win a Jets jersey, we'll do a separate raffle for anyone who enters live on the Saturday show here. Klecko, Namath, Martin, Corbett, Revis, Mangold, and the jersey Kyle Clifton, which is rocking the throwback 1996 Keyshawn Johnson first pick in the draft Jets jersey. Snoopy, you are in for 2. We'll get to more of your calls coming up here. Let's say hello to Tio Clemente up next on the program. Hello, Tio.
Jake, how you doing?
Tio?
See,
How are you?
you hear me? Okay. So, hello, I'm V-Man's uncle, Clemente. Pero you could call me Jose. I'm calling because I don't know what happened to my nephew. He's sleeping, he's working. I don't know. Yo no sé lo que está pasando. But I'm calling because, man, I don't know what to do with my nephew no more because, that girl, what's her name? La Huepa Queen, esa Jenny. Woo! Esa cita buena. She's good. So I don't know. We're going to have to do something. You're going to call him. You have his number?
I do.
My calls.
Yeah, V-Man still hasn't even called in to talk about the fact that he defeated Genergy earlier this week in the tournament.
No, yo no sé. I got to call. You talk to V-Mom and his grandfather, pero, I don't know what to tell you, man, pero he got to get it together because ¿qué tiene? Oh, Big Cho. Ese Big Cho, he's very popular.
Oh,
Very popular.
He's single too. I don't know your status.
I see like reclining. I see me. Lay down. Lay down. Oh yes. Oh less. You like the shirt.
Oh yeah. You really have it all covered there. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I watch you too, Jake. I'm a big Jets fan. Of course, Puerto Rico. Pa'lante siempre. But I'm Clemente. They call me Clemente because I'm named after. I used to play baseball. Like el 21, número 21, number 21, Clemente, the best. So.
Roberto, sure.
Hell yes, hell yes. Oh yes, you watch the Addy show. You like the Addy show?
Of course.
Okay, that's good too. And Bobby and Mikey, I love all those guys.
Who knew V-Man's uncle was so ingrained in the Asmaniac community?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I like your show. I should call more, huh? I should call.
Please do.
Call you. I'm gonna
call V-Man and say your uncle called in today.
Okay, you tell him that I'm looking for him. I'm gonna kick his ass. He needs to call. Levántate, Vicente. Levántate. Wake up. Okay.
Tio, thank you for your time.
Okay. Bye.
Asmaniac Madness is underway. Make sure you vote to make your voice heard.
What a call. V-Man's uncle checking in. And I'm telling you, if V-Man's uncle, a.k.a. Genergy, led with that, V-Man would have been knocked out of this tournament.
I want to make sure we protect the prize that V-Man won. Look at this thing. And he's wearing the Brits jersey. You kidding me? Come on, V-Man. Help him out a little bit. Best we can do with V-Man.
Captain Puerto Rico, away.
Tremendous. Open phone lines for anyone who wants in on the conversation. Shout out to Rasta Dread. He is the first person to gift the membership during the show today. He is in the raffle for 1. Rasta Dread 305 in for 1. Super chat from Sam in the raffle for 1 with this. With proper coaching, Boston will be the better prospect than Ardunze. Why are you low on him? How would you feel about Denzel Boston as an option for the Jets?
Yeah, I like Denzel Boston. Look at his again. I want a guy with size, and so what is he? He's a big dude, right? I don't know, I'm not down on Boston. I'm not sure I want Boston at 16. I think that's the I've mocked him to the Jets at 16 when the other 3 pass. So to me, it's do you want Denzel Boston or Sadiq at 16 if they're there in the scenario that the other 3 are gone? And so if that's the situation. Well, I'm a little crazy. I'd love to see them draft Sadiq Sadiq at 16 and then go get another wide receiver at 33. And then you just have a lot of fun on offense. Like once you get a quarterback, they're not going to do that. Go back-to-back pass catchers, but they could. Like again, I'm bigger on Sadiq, I think, than I am on Boston. That's why I probably would take Sadiq at 16 over Boston. But if you like Boston over Sadiq, I can understand why you would make that move. I would take Lemon over both of those guys, right? I'd probably take the injury risk with Tyson at 16 over both of those guys. But if I'm left with choosing between Sadiq and Boston, I'm probably taking Sadiq just because of his unique skill set that I think he has the potential to be a real difference maker at tight end. And I think in the modern NFL, you know, for a young quarterback, eventually when you bring him in, when you have someone of that kind of skill set over the middle, I don't know. I'm a big fan.
To me, if they were to take Sadiq, they better have like a clear plan for how they're going to deploy him. And they still need another receiver because, well, I could argue, hey, Sadiq, big slot, you know, he kind of fills that void for another pass catcher. You still need another wide receiver for conventional offensive sets. So I'm with you, Paul. If they did Sadiq and then took another receiver, I don't hate it. We've done the defensive thing how many times? Load up on offense, man. Again, Glenn's superpower is coaching or calling the plays on defense. His words. They spent most of their free agent dollars on defense. They're going to spend the number 2 pick in the draft on defense. There's nothing wrong with the Jets saying, we want to score points. We're going to double up on playmaker at 16 and 33.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's an argument. You get the defensive stud at 2, and at 16 and 33, you get your pass catchers, and then 44 maybe pick up a safety. They could use a safety or somebody like just the point being, the Jets are going to have a ton of cap space in 27. They've got a ton of draft capital in 27. Imagine you've put this team together where your offense is actually just a QB away, like truly just a QB away. And the talent on offense is all young. So you've got them for 4 years under really, really good contract structure. Like when was the last time the Jets really did that? They haven't, right? They did it opposite. I mean, I guess you could argue that Garrett Brees year, they kind of set it up and they never got the quarterback right. But to me, you can make, you could probably get away with drafting the defensive player at 2 and having a pretty middle of the road defense this year and not go crazy on defense in the draft and just go a little crazy on offense and really be set up nicely for 27. I doubt they're going to do it. I just do. But you tell me the Jets came away with, I don't know, Styles or Reese at 2, Sadiq at 16, and then one of the second level pass catchers at 33. I mean, we'd be excited. We'd be excited about the possibility. That'd be fun to talk about that. Yeah.
Super chat from Cheeseman who says, I'll never forgive the Jets for passing on Knoble. I don't think anyone will. I think that's totally fair. Cheeseman, thank you. Hit the like button, comments, questions, your super chats. We'll cut the line. Open phone lines for anyone who wants in on the conversation with Paul and I. Reminder, if you're a watcher of the program on YouTube and you want to take the show on the go, you could download the audio version of the Jake Asman Show on either Apple or Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Check it out, and you will see the full show. And again, if you are watching or listening, I should say, on either Apple or Spotify, leave a 5-star review and help support the show on our audio platforms. Veteran Jet fan says, it'd be awesome. 16 Sadiq and then receiver at 33 or 44. They could do that as well. Maybe they traded out of 33, by the way, and picked up a third, and then they were able to still take a receiver with one of the picks. I'm all for that. I think the depth in this draft, the receiver, is really strong in that second, third round range. Like you can get the same type of player in the second round that you can in the third round at wide receiver.
I mean, year after year, it's proven out. Like there are guys that get drafted, look at Puka, that are drafted a little bit later, that become studs. And again, why can't the Jets finally get that right? Like when was the last time the Jets drafted any wide receiver not named Garrett Wilson, who actually was a real contributor? I mean, last year, I went crazy when we drafted Arian Smith just because I was like, this guy does not belong to get. There was other players ahead of him at that point that could have been drafted. and we just kind of ignored the position again and left Garrett on an island. And I feel like there are a lot of talented wide receivers, to your point, in the second, or you can get in the second round. It's why I really like I'm almost talking myself into Sadiq at 16, just because I have a strong feeling that the other 3 wide receivers will be gone. And so if those 3 guys are gone, unless Tyson falls to 16, then it's kind of a no-brainer. You take them. I think Lemon's going to be gone. Tate's going to be gone. And the question is just going to be, is Tyson going to be there or not? And if he's not, Sadiq at 16 and then coming back and getting another wide receiver at 33 or 44. I mean, that could be, I actually, this is one of those things where I actually do trust Muji. He's made me feel very confident that he's a competent GM. And that I think he's going to do a good job. I think he's going to have a good draft. I do. I don't think they're going to draft Ty. I think that he's going to do a good job. I feel confident about it.
I like that you are confident. That makes me feel good. If Paul Fiore, one of the more level-headed people in this fan base, is confident in the general manager, that makes me feel good about Darren Ritchie.
I mean, with that being said, I thought Joe Douglas was a home run hire, and I thought I was confident in him, and then until I wasn't, right? But when you go back and you look at Joe Douglas as a GM, everyone, there's a lot of Joe Douglas fans. A lot of that fandom is because of the one draft.
And the trades leading up to that draft too. It's a little similar with Muji, because we love his trades. Now we got to see what they do with the picks. But remember, Joe Douglas got a second and a fourth for Sam Darnold, which was wow, they got a lot. They got the 2 1s for Jamal Adams, which was gigantic. And even remember Chris Herndon, Stonehands Herndon, they got a 4th round pick for him. We were like, what? That was
if you look at his actual drafts, and take the 1 first round where he got Jermaine, he got everybody, he had that, with Jermaine, Garrett, Brees, Sauce. That was, he had an unbelievable first round, and getting Brees in the top of round 2. I struggle with the lack of depth of his drafts. And so it's that the team, so I feel confident in Muji, but we know from history that there's a chance that it all blows up on our face. What makes me feel a little bit more confident, though, truthfully, is I look at the first draft that he had, and I think he made very competent selections in the early part of the draft. And what people don't think about is he inherited the scouting team. When the first year of a GM, usually the guys that did all the scouting are the guys from the previous regime. And so when you don't go, I kind of give him a pass for some of his later round picks, because that really is scouting. His earlier picks, though, you can't really argue with them. And I think, whether it's Membu, Taylor, AZ Thomas, I think all these guys are going to be good football players, And so I'm willing, with that and the trades that he's made, I look at it and go, I feel he's proving to be a pretty competent guy. Now let's see what he does this year in the draft. But his day 3 selections last year were really, really bad. But I almost feel like those day 3 picks, I give him a little bit of an excuse because he's working with the scout. That wasn't his team. I listen to Connor Rogers talk about this, so I trust him more than this is not me. This is me as a fan listening to a guy like Connor. He says it when a GM comes in their first year, they're basically inheriting the scouting reports and the scouting group from the previous regime. So those day 3 picks, a lot of that is kind of the information that was provided to him by a group that was not his. So I'm not upset about that as much as maybe some might be. Let's see how he does this year. It'll be a very interesting. I just feel confident in him. I think that he's proven to be a very talented trader so far, and I think he's going to do well in the draft. I do.
Do you subscribe to the theory that Muji could be here a year from now and Glenn wouldn't be? They're not attached at the hip?
100%. I get why. There's some of the guys that report on the team that say they're attached to the hip. I think that was true in the beginning. How could you legitimately say, if Muji has a really good draft and this team is set up and those guys look like they're good players and Glenn is a bad head coach, how can you say Muji doesn't get a 3rd year? I struggle believing that. Like, I think he's so far. Like, now look, if they're terrible and he misses, here's how you get fired as a GM. You draft your second round pick, your number 2 pick doesn't pan out. You draft Ty at 16. He's a failure, and the team wins 3 to 5 games. They're all gone, right? But if you just do good, if you just bring in 4 talented football players who make contributions to this team, and the Jets win 5 games, and you want to move on from the head coach, I don't see why Muji doesn't earn the opportunity to go get himself his head coach. I don't.
I think that's totally fair. And like the thing is, we'll get a much better sense on who Muji is and who's running the show based on this upcoming draft class, because they got 4 picks in the top 44. And Muji, I don't think, is going to take Tai Simpson ultimately. If he does, that does change the equation a little bit, because I think if you're taking Tai
100%.
at 16, let's say, that shows me that you believe in the guy you're taking your swing now when you don't necessarily have to. But let's say they don't take a quarterback early. They have this draft coming up, and it's similar to year 1. They hit. We feel pretty good about these players, but they don't win enough games. There's going to be an argument that you just keep the GM who's already under contract, who seemingly is doing a good job, and you let him be a part of a coach search if Glenn can't prove to figure it out after a disastrous first year. I think that situation's on the table. I know that Connor Hughes said the power structure hasn't changed, but I've had Rich Cimini on my show. I've had Ali Anazone from Newsday on. People in the know, people around the building say, yeah, the idea that it's like Glenn and Muji together no matter what, or that Muji's a sidekick, as Woody once referred to him as at the introductory presser. Just like look at the coverage of Muji from people on the national level and the local level. Clearly that has changed. Like, anyone not paying attention to that's being dishonest.
Yeah, and again, unless this is why I don't think the Jets are drafting Simpson at 16. I don't see Muji as being in a position where he's going to go, I'm putting my chips in on this kid at 16. I think any good GM should be looking at not just 26, they should be looking at the guys that are in the 27 draft and go, where would I rank Ty Simpson versus the top 5 QBs that will likely be available in 27? And knowing that I'll have enough draft capital to get into the top. The Jets don't need the number 1 pick in 27. Like, I know it's the Arch Manning thing, and I get it. I think Arch is going to have an unbelievable year. But there's a lot of depth to the 27 draft class that if it's not Arch and it's, I mean, we can go down the list. There's, I don't even want to go through all of them. But if you look at the top 5 or 6 guys and you go, I would rank Ty 6th behind these top 5 guys, then you do not draft that kid at 16. You can't. So, like, to me, I think that's the work that they have to be doing. And if they take the swing at 16, they're telling you, we value him as a top flight quarterback, not just this year, but in 27.
Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. Do a couple more calls with Paul. We have the raffle at the end of the show. This is your last chance to enter for a signed Joe Namath helmet, signed Darrelle Revis helmet, and a signed Breece Hall helmet. I'm going to get the membership right now. If you get it, I will put you in the Asmaniac weekly raffle. If you want a membership, you got to be subscribed to the channel, and you have to, of course, like the video, and you'll be eligible by the YouTube algorithm to get a gifted channel membership. 1 membership from yours truly about to be gifted. We're going to get to more of your calls shortly here, but first, let's shout out who got the membership for me. It went to listener NYC Beam, who is in the Asmaniac raffle for 1. Let's go.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. More of your calls. Adam is next.
Adam is cool, although kind of basic. He claims he's too cool, though often quite basic. He makes great jet points, looks a little basic. Adam is cool, too cool, but basic. Some would say generic.
Hey guys, happy Saturday.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, all right. Got a devil's advocate question though about Sadiq. So let's just start with the last tight end that I think we really liked would probably be Dustin Keller. Is that a fair statement?
That the Jets have drafted?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jason Morrow was a 2nd-round pick. We know how that went.
Right. Actually, you can make the argument acquired in any fashion. It's been Dustin Keller like in the late 2000s. That was the last good tight end we actually ever had. Fair statement?
You didn't love Austin Safarian Jenkins?
Oh, stop. So anyway, my point would be, what was Dustin Keller's impact on those conference championship game teams when it was all said and done? What was his value to the team? Would you consider him a top 10 player in that roster?
No.
Okay. So why would we want to draft Sadiq, who does not have the same production as Tyler Warren or Brock Bowers or even Loveland? Why would we go that high? We talk about Caleb Downs not getting him at 2 because of positional value. Why do we look the other way on tight end, which I don't think is even a top 10 positional need right now for us?
Again, so I'm just looking at it from the perspective of I've lost the top 3 wide receiver prospects that I like, right? And now I'm comparing him to Denzel Boston at 16. And for me, I just think you're right in that his college numbers are they're good. They're not like off the charts where you're like, oh, this guy's a top, he's not Tyler Warren or Brock Bowers from college. But when you've got a guy with his size, his speed, his like just general physical talent, I like the other argument would be, well, they could go draft a guard at 16 then. And I want the pass catcher. So if I'm losing out on my top 3 wide receivers on the board, for me, the number 4 pass catcher on the board is Sadiq, above Denzel Boston, above, Omar Cooper, those guys. Not that I don't like those guys. I just have him higher because I think his ceiling is higher than those guys. That's my logic.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Adam, no worries. Sadiq lined up more as a just pure slot than he did inline. He'd be like what Harold Fannin was for the Browns, for example. Like just pure big pass catcher would be he'd be a nightmare for linebackers because they're too slow, and he'd be so much bigger for any nickel or safety because of just the size advantage. So he would open things up potentially in your offense with him and Mason Taylor. That would give you something unique for teams to have to game plan for every week, in addition to having Garrett and Brees. Like you have something there weapons wise. Plus, you could still add another receiver.
He's also a hell of a blocker. He's underrated as a blocker. People don't realize what he could do for your running game too. And it's just, to me, again, I'm not putting him ahead of the 3 wide receivers. I am putting him ahead of the other guys in the next tier. That's just my personal opinion.
Sean Horton in the Asmaniac raffle for 1. Let's go, Sean. I appreciate you. Hit it.
Good job.
This one is from Sam, who says, how could you be confident in Muji? You're basically saying he did not study the draft. Please explain the pass up on all those DTs and guys like Ayer Manor. Is that the Titans receiver that went?
I think so.
So I'm trying to remember. But I mean, look, Sam, day 3 last year was an abomination. Do you not feel good, though, about Armand Membu? Do you not feel decent about Mason Taylor? Do you not like the upside potential of Azaria Thomas? The draft, it wasn't perfect. It needs to clearly be better. But really, since the end of training camp with the trades and some of the moves they've made now in free agency, I think you could feel confident in Muji, and you hope that their process is even better this go around now that they have the 4 picks in the top 44 and they have 2 4th-round picks on day 3. You got to, I mean, no GM is going to bat 1,000 in the draft. It just doesn't happen.
No, I mean, look, here's my confidence. I also think Malachi Moore is a good football player, and they got him in the 4th round, 130th pick overall. You're right. Like my biggest issue with his draft was Arian Smith. Like that to me was the one that I was like, what are we doing with Arian Smith? Like, I just didn't understand that at that time. But round 5, round 6 guys, like I'm less upset about like how many, yes, there are guys that come out of nowhere and they become really good football players and they were late round draft picks. I'm just saying, I think he had a very competent draft. And then he pivoted after the draft and realized there was some holes and made some good trades. I mean, so like for me, it was like you did it. You had a draft. You got yourself, I think, again, Membu, Taylor, AZ Thomas, Malachi Moore. If you come out of here with 4 guys that become NFL football contributors and a couple of them being potential Pro Bowlers, you had a good draft. I mean, that's just the reality. It was a good draft. And it's his first draft, and he's using the previous regime's scouting team. He then followed that up during during their training camp with, I thought, really good trades of value. The guys now are real contributors with Briggs, and so like I just feel like I'm not saying he's the greatest GM that ever walked the planet, but I think what he's proving so far with his trades and his first draft, and again, day 3 was bad, that he has a level of competence that makes me believe he's building out this roster very intentionally. Like, is there one move they made this offseason that you could say, I don't like what they did?
I don't think there's a move that you could point to be like, what are they doing? Are they overpaid? I think they clearly have had a real plan. They just got to execute in the draft, because I think they're setting themselves up to be in position to turn this around. It's going to come down to quarterback. And look, if Glenn stinks, that's not on Muji. He didn't hire him. So if Muji gets a chance to hire a coach, same way Douglas hired Saleh, that will be a big part of the resume of Darren Muji as a GM too.
Yeah, and again, I think Glenn gets a lot of heat for how bad he was as a head coach last year, and a lot of that was because of the way he carried himself personally. I think that did not help. He came in with a certain level of overconfidence and how he was going to be as a head coach, and a lot of his guys at very important coaching positions failed. He does deserve. I'm not saying he deserves. Look, the challenge with discussing Aaron Glenn and Muji is how much are they connected, like we talked about earlier. I'm confident Glenn obviously has input in the players and wants certain guys. Muji still has to make the transactions. Muji's the one that's negotiating. He's the one executing the trades. So for me, it's not like Glenn's on the phone making deals. So people are like, how can you separate them? You can, because a GM's value is not just in the acquisition of the players, it's the value of the players too. And it's how you acquire them. And it's how you don't, like, he didn't sacrifice any 2027 draft capital. He's only acquired more assets. He's made trades and gotten rid of players that are not in the right timeline for them to be a good football team, and gotten more value than most. That's a GM. Now, Glenn could have said, hey, I think we should move on from Sauce. I think we should move on from Q. But at the end of the day, you could say that. It's still the GM's job to go make the acquisitions and make the trades. And that's where I think the nuance and the difference is between the two. Glenn might be a really good, maybe he's good on scouting on the players and the talent, but at the end of the day, his job is to run the football team and to make them a competent organization on the field. So that's how I separate the two. Because I saw some comments going, well, how do you separate these? And this, I think the way you separate them is understanding one is the transactional part of the job, right? And player acquisitions and making sure you get the right trades at the right value. And the other part of it is the coaching part of the job and making the team better. The Jets did not get better at all last year. Now, that doesn't mean they won't be this year. I still want Glenn to be successful. But am I walking into 2026 saying Aaron Glenn has got a better than 30% chance of being the head coach in 27? I don't. And that's coming from a guy who loves Aaron Glenn, who wants him to be successful, but did not want him to be head coach because I knew the buzzsaw he was walking into as a first-time defensive coordinator head coach.
It is a buzzsaw. And it goes back to what we were saying about Tai Simpson. Like, not everyone's built to be the quarterback of the Jets. Like, I just never felt like this was a job for a first-timer, especially a defensive guy. Yeah, I would understand if you're trying the offensive guy. But, again, it's a defensive guy who didn't even call the plays in year one, and now he's doing it in year two. It almost feels like, Paul, a lot of the moves they've made this offseason, if they had made them a year ago, it would have made more sense for where the team is at. But now they're in this spot where it's like they need to show improvement, but a lot of the fan base is like, well, we don't really want you to win 6 games. We'd rather you just win 3 now and then have the top pick in a loaded quarterback draft seemingly a year from now. It's a very weird dynamic.
It's a weird dynamic, and I battled myself with this last year. I've never been a tanker. I was a tanker last year, and it got me nowhere, right? I mean, I was tank for Fernando. I wanted him badly. And, I'm not in that mindset right now for 26. Like, I think you can be an improved football team. And I don't think people realize, but because some people are like, well, teams will stick and pick no matter what. I don't subscribe 100% to that. You may have to overpay to get your quarterback, but that's kind of what they did to set themselves up with 3 first-round picks. Plus, they still have all their capital in 28. So it's like, what you don't realize is, let's just say the Jets win 6 games and they're picking, I don't know, 11th. Well, what did the Colts do? The Colts win. There's a good chance the Jets have 3 picks in the top 20 next year, top 15 even. You mean to tell me the Jets can't package 2 of those picks and a future pick if they wanted to go get one of the, into the top 5? Not every single team is going to need a quarterback in the first 5 picks of the draft next year. But there will be 5 guys that I think I personally like better than Tai Simpson. That's just, so for me, that's the calculus for me. It's like, there are 5 guys that I think that come out next year that I would want over Tai Simpson.
I'm right there
and
with
I think that you can get one of those 5 guys with the draft capital the Jets have.
Correct. And look, there's also the scenario where you already said it earlier. What if the Colts are just bad? So for those who are just worried about the Jets got to be awful. What if Dak Prescott or Jordan Love, God forbid, suffers a serious injury and those picks are a lot higher than we expect? The reason why the Jets have Garrett Wilson is because Russell Wilson, ironically, got hurt. So Geno had to start playing some games for Seattle that season. And Seattle was supposed to be picking at the end of the first round because they're a contender. They fell apart. They ended up picking 10th that year, and the Jets had their pick, and that's why Garrett Wilson is a Jet right now.
Yeah. Jets Johnny's coming after me today. He's just...
Yeah. The problem with Jets Johnny is he's a Glenn bootlicker, so you have to just take everything he says and understand his perspective on it is that he wants to lick the boots of Aaron Glenn. At least he's awake, unlike Glenn at the Combine.
So Daniel Jeremiah's top 50 prospects as Aaron Glenn looks on for the Jets.
Well, he's a bootlicker, Glenn Butt Sniffer, putting perfume on a pig and telling Jake, check to say he's a bootlicker, Aaron Glenn Truther, holding out a rope and trying to sell us on this shit show.
They're out and about today.
I look at it this way, and with respect, for me, it's I want Glenn to be successful. I think 2 things can be true. I think you could want Glenn to be successful and hope that he is, and also be realistic that he did not have a good year 1. I don't think that that's a unfair thing to say as a fan of the football team. He needs
we could be honest about what we watched. It was deplorable. It was one of the worst coach seasons of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it just, for me, again, I want him to be good. I want him to, but what does good this year look like? It's competence on the football field. It's a defense that's ranked, not in the bottom 3 or 4. He's going to be calling the plays now, right? It's an offense that at least can move the football and be, in the game. We're not getting blown out week after week after week the last 5 weeks of the season. Yeah, they improved on penalties, but that's not to me. I need to see my head coach have a directional improvement to the point where I'm looking at 2027 as a playoff team. I said when he got hired, this is a 3-year rebuild. I had the Jets winning 5 to 7 games last year. That's what I thought would be. I wasn't green goggles on saying they're going to win 9, 10 games. I understood why they got Fields. None of that. I was not sitting there going, this is a disaster, until it was. And the reason why I say it was a disaster, they won 3 games and they traded their guys away. They were 0-7 with the guys they had, though. And people just, it's turning it's like when people say Aaron Judge sucked. He's always bad in the big game and he hit 500 last postseason. You can't ignore the things that are in front of you. The Jets were 0-7 with the team that was supposed to be decent. They were 0-7. So
the
that's
big decisions he made, he completely misevaluated his roster and the ability of his coaching staff that he lauded to be able to coach guys up. He fired 50% of them, including both coordinators. We could be honest about what we watched. I again, he's the coach, so I'm going to root for him because it'd be a great story if him and Geno could turn it around. But these are real conversations you have to have because it does feel like the GM has distinguished himself and the coach is on the hot seat, rightfully so.
Yeah, and again, it's not an unfair thing to say when the team was 0-7 that he was doing a bad job, and they won 3 games. Let's look at the 3 games they won.
Backup quarterbacks.
Who'd they beat? So, yes, the final 4 or 5 games of the season, they were a disaster of a roster. but they were a bad football team all year. They just were. And so I was resigned to Glenn coming back the minute they traded Sauce, the minute they traded Q. I stopped. You and I had this discussion. I'm like, I'm not sitting here going, they need to fire Glenn anymore, because at that point, I knew he wasn't getting fired, so I'm not going to waste my energy. At this point, I just need to see this guy improve as a head coach. And I hope to God he does, because I don't want to go through the cycle over and over again of trying to go find the next guy and pray to God that Woody and the decision makers are going to make the right choice. Because when was the last time they did? So like, I want him to be good. I do. And I hope that Frank Reich affords him the ability to just focus on the defense and make the defense acceptable. So this team is not a laughingstock this year.
That's well said. But this is what I mean with the bootlicker stuff from Jets Johnny. He goes, Glenn was 0-7 with a team that was supposed to win 6 games, and they could have won 3 of the first 7. Like, this is just loser's mentality. They could have won 3 of the first. Great. You're the same guy, Jets Johnny, who loves to bring up the fact, Aaron Rodgers only won 5 games. Okay, let's factor in Greg Zuerlein. How many games did he cost them at the beginning of the year, right? How many games did the Jets offense give them the lead late, and then the defense blew it? Like, you are what the record says you are by your own logic when it comes to the 2024 Jets, right? So now you can't be like, they could have won 3 of the first 7. The reason why they didn't win some of those games was because of him, because of Glenn. Like the debacle in London against Denver. The end of the first half, the end of the second half, not knowing the game-winning field goal yardage, not making a quarterback change, showing no feel for managing that situation, like keeping Xavier Gibson on the roster and scolding the media for dare questioning him, and then lecturing us on Clemens as he commits a brutal personal foul penalty week 2 that really opened the floodgates in that blowout against the Bills. Like, again, he was bad in year 1. Like, if you can't acknowledge that, there's nothing to talk about. Hawk with a super chat. He's in the raffle for 2. The next time the Jets develop a QB would be the first time ever. Stop with the rookie QB. Save your talk. Vet QB and weapons is how this franchise will win. Styles at 2. Receiver or Sadiq at 16. Raffle me, Jake. Hawk, I got you in the raffle. But here's the thing. Like, veteran quarterbacks, great ones, don't typically become available. We're all talking about, the 3 first-round picks in 27. I suppose we could factor in a crazy Joe Burrow trade or whoever the disgruntled quarterback could be a year from now. But in all likelihood, the Jets' path to having long-term success is to hit on a guy in the draft. So I get your point, but just because they haven't found a long-term answer in the draft at quarterback doesn't mean they can't. Pennington was very good when he was healthy. He unfortunately couldn't stay healthy. Like, you got to keep trying until you get it right, but that doesn't mean you reach at 16. So I think there's a lot of nuance to your super chat there, Hawk.
Yeah, I mean, I have no issue with what he's saying with 2 and 16. I think the argument about they haven't developed a QB, in recent memory, that's obviously true. And it goes back to my earlier point, like, whoever you draft, I don't want him to be called the savior. I think the fan base will do that. A lot of us in the fan base, not everybody. But unless you have a true plan in place to develop the quarterback, you're going to fail. And so, the best organizations in football, they do this, right? There's a reason why Green Bay is always a good football team. There's a reason why the 49ers are a good football team consistently. They develop their players. They develop the young quarterback. I'd love to see a vet QB, but, we talk about this. We tried it, and it, with Rodgers, and it didn't work. We're going to have Geno this year. We as fans, we should hope Geno's actually pretty decent. And the team is okay. And you can say, well, maybe even Geno can start next year too and still go get your quarterback in 27. Like, that to me would be great, because then you're not forcing the issue with playing a young quarterback when he's not potentially ready. It's just, for me, you look at the AFC, you look around the AFC East even, and the quarterbacks, and I don't, it's not a criticism of Tai Simpson today. He might develop into this guy. I don't know if he's a top 15 quarterback in the future NFL. I just don't. And so, if that's my personal opinion of the guy, knowing that I'll likely be wrong, because there's a better chance of you being wrong than right on quarterbacks when you draft them. That's the reality of it. And I'm not an NFL personnel guy. Right? I'm just a fan watching a lot of football. And if Tai Simpson was 6'4", if he had certain physical traits and he also, like, all those other things, I would be a little bit different. I don't love his size. I don't love that he was, that he was bad in the second half of the year. It's just, again, he's 23. He's not 21. So, like, I think he's a talented kid. I just don't know if he's talented enough that I would want to take him at 16. That's just the bottom line with him.
Here's Zach Van Buren. I believe he did a mock draft based on a super chat here. He's in the raffle for 2. He says, my most recent stick and pick, Reese Lemon Simpson, who was available at 33, Anthony Hill Jr., Derek Moore, Inez Cooper, Everett, who's a corner, Coogan, that's the Indiana center, and then Xavier Harris, defensive tackle. I only comment on the first 4 picks because that seems to be the most pertinent. I would love a Reese Lemon combo, and if Simpson's there at 33, which I think he could be, I'm okay with taking him. Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker. I know people seem to like him. I think that'd be a really exciting first 4 picks if you're a Jet fan.
I saw a good amount of Anthony Hill Jr. He's a very talented football player. I like him a lot, actually, at that pick. Like,
he's a Texas linebacker, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
Yep.
He's a really good football player. If you get him at 44, he probably. I mean, I've seen a lot of mocks where he's sitting there at 44. I like him a lot, actually.
Let me see. Did I miss anything? I don't believe I did. Paul, tell people where they can find you.
So, Twitter at Paul Fiore. I enjoy. I try to. I used to post a lot more than my new job has me super busy. So I post early in the morning and later in the evening. I enjoy good debates on there. Just always being respectful with each other. Otherwise, we don't do it. And then I'm Jets Talk Now is my YouTube channel. I promise I will start posting again. It's been a couple weeks, but again, getting settled into a new job has been kind of chaotic for me.
You mean the Jets isn't your entire life, Paul?
Yeah. Some people ask. So, but yeah, so that's where you can find me.
Love it. Paul, appreciate you hopping on, man. I'm glad we could get you on again. We'll do it soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Paul Fiore with us there. Hit the like button, comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Kyle Clifton and Rob the Jet fan in action right now. Make sure you vote for your chance to determine who advances to the Sweet 16. Yeah. Here from Rob the Jet fan shortly. Going to get to more of your calls as well. But right now, we need a short break. And when we come back, that's right. When we come back, we are breaking everything, and I mean everything, down with the state of the Jets. We will do that right after these words. Hit it.
The New York Jets.
Come on!
Select Will McDonald, linebacker,
What?
Iowa State.
What the
Let's
fuck?
go.
I can't believe this shit!
All
What
right.
the fuck happened to the
Hey, there we go. Light it up, Ricky. Yeah, let's get back to your calls right now. One of our favorites is on the Ghostbuster hotline. Ricky NY joins us now. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, Jake.
Hey, Ricky, how you doing?
Thanks for taking my call, Jake. I just finished smoking all the available weed in the panhandle, so bear with me if I collapse here in front of my personalized flag. Any chance you could send that boxing guy, Gary, to the Jameis Winston town? Maybe Gator can build a special hall for quarterbacks who throw more interceptions than completed passes. Well, not a Florida guy, but can go to Seminoles all the way there. If you got a whole lot, just get all of them in there. I don't give a shit. Well, I think I got to relight this thing. Hold on a second. I just got this new blowtorch lighter. Let's try it out. Try it. Oh, Jesus Christ. Should have backed off that setting a bit. Anyway, Jake, I'll hang up for now and grab the burn kit again. Later, brother.
Oh, my God.
Yo, Gator is different, man. That dude is different.
Let's keep going with the calls right now. It looks like, wow, I cannot believe this guy actually showed his face. A man who owes us 25 memberships in honor of 25 career interceptions by Zach Wilson. Hawk has called in for the very first time. Hello, Hawk.
Hey, Tyson, what's up, man? Hey, Jake, before you send me to the Shadow Realm, let me ask Tyson about Zach. Tyson, don't you think we can keep Zach Wilson and just let him start the first few games? I mean, we all know the kid just needs another year behind center, and that'll really get him going. I mean, Crowan, man, you know he's freaking awesome, bro. Marin win.
Oh man, you're killing me.
Hawk, thank you for calling in, and we'll see you in the realm.
Into the shadow realm you go. That's the problem with Aaron Rodgers. This guy is a cancer that's metastasized throughout the entire building in Florham Park. And I don't know why Jets fans can't see it.
Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
Whoa. You don't need a quarterback. You need a good football player. That's what I'm saying about Brock Bowers. You need a good football player.
Gary has called back in. He's relentless tonight, man. Gary, what do you got?
What's going on, Jake? I'm a little fired up today. Let me ask you something. If you could get 30 touchdowns out of Jameis Winston and 30 interceptions, I'm going to tell you something about him. Caleb Williams is going to help him in the third round. And if he gets knocked down in round 7, I mean, his fight's going to go to the scorecard. It's probably fixed anyway. I mean, I disagree with you like 100%. What you did, miscalculating about not taking Joe Milton over Zach, a draft prospect. I mean, knockouts don't matter if you land enough jabs and you would have split decision. You don't need a quarterback for a 12-round fight. You get the tight end. You get the tight end. Joe Milton. Knockouts don't get the tight end because Bowers, he's not going to hold the ball as long as Caleb Williams. He'll just allow it to himself and catch it and score down the ring, and then it's a knockout fight. Wait, hold on, Jake. I think I owe you an apology. I just realized I called into your Jets show. Thought I was doing the boxing thing and I freaking crossed all my thoughts. Anyway, we should take Joe Milton and take Tyson over Jake Paul in round 3 of the draft. Thanks, Jake. Gator is a douchebag.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gator. Well done. Well done. Well done. Give Gator some love in the chat. That was well needed after Gary's call on the second show today. Good God. Bravo. Gary up next. Hello, Gary.
That skit that Gator did yesterday, I showed it to my wife. She thought it was the funniest thing she's ever seen. That was gold. I don't know how he does this, but he's got some type of talent. I hope he's using it for good. That guy is incredible.
You know you made it when you get impersonated by Gator.
Yeah, I'll take you as a compliment. I'll take it all as a compliment.
All right, let's keep rolling. You want to talk about Hall of Fame level callers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to our guy, Scott.
Hey, what's up? Great stuff. How the hell you be a swing tackle in the scheme of what you're doing? I mean, what the hell are you going to get? What do you say if I have this guy, we can have this guy? That's garbage. That's garbage. No. You can look at the whole dynamics of it, and it's tough, and it's cool, but what the schematics that, Jake, I love you. I respect you. It's fictitious crap. I mean, how? I mean, look at a ballerina, and a ballerina knows how to move her hips and knows how to move her body. And you're laughing, but it's true, Jake. I love you. I respect you. But look, you don't put words in my face. I can show you how a ballerina, if you turn her body in a certain way, you can see how she moves. And it's just in the terms of the ballerina that just the way she spins in the dress, stay put, and it's just not how it's done. Look, I'm 48, dude. I take steroids and a very low dose of rodeo bull made from juices from injections, and I'm very muscular. I've got the muscles.
Oh my God!
This guy, and he's Mr. Magnifico. I just don't know how.
Oh my God. God damn it, Gator. He had the wig and everything. Oh my God. This was you after you fell off the scooter. I mean, this is what you look like.
It's a pretty good representation.
I didn't see you fall off the scooter. I just saw the aftermath of.
Fun trip down memory lane there. Comments, questions, super chats. They will cut the line. Raffle at the end of the show. I needed some time to count all the names. We have the weekly raffle for 3 signed items coming up here. Brees Hall sign helmet, Revis sign helmet, Joe Namath sign helmet. And then for anyone who enters during this very show, I'm going to do a separate one raffle Wheel of Champions spin for a Jets jersey of your choosing. Pick any of the Jet legends that you see me feature on the show. Let me get right back now to your calls. In Asmaniac Madness right now, Rob from Glenhead is trying to pull off the upset, try and knock off the #1 overall seed. Let's hear from the man himself.
Gator, where is my intro? I need a cool intro. I've been calling in, supporting Jake for over 4 years. You did intros for Papa Jet, and Adam is too cool. I'm worthy of an intro, Gator. I don't understand why I don't have an intro. You suck, Gator. You really suck.
Rob, unmute your mic. Do. Hit the unmute button.
Can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you, Rob.
How about now?
Oh, yeah.
Good job. Sorry, buddy. Just calling in. What are we at percentage-wise?
77-23. Clifton with the lead.
Yikes. I told you, he's squishing me like an Italian grape.
He's a fierce competitor.
I'm like I said, I'm worthy of an intro. I'm worthy of a vote. Please vote for me. But it's all cool. It's all good. Just give it my best. Kyle's a good man, but all I can do is give it my best, Jake. Maybe like when I finish making my jet points, you could play that intro that I gave you with Baby Joey that we did the chant.
Let me see if I can find that for you. Yep.
You still have it?
I gotta look. You should have told me you wanted me to play it.
I know. I'm sorry, but I was out for a few hours. That's why. But maybe like when I'm finished, you could just put it on for me. I need all the help I can get. But I just wanted to call Jake. I don't know. I tell you, more and more and more and more, I want Simpson in the worst way. I want Tai Simpson. I really don't care about anything else. I don't care about a pass rusher. I don't care about a wide receiver. I want a quarterback. I want to take a couple of swings at a quarterback and have the opportunity next year. Because the way it's looking like, the way I look at it, Jake, is this way. I think best case scenario, we're going to win about 5 games. Okay. Now, if we win 5 games, I still think, excuse me, I still think that Aaron Glenn's going to get fired. Would you agree on that, first of all, or not?
If they only win 5 games, I don't think Aaron Glenn returns next year.
Okay. Now, if he gets fired, hopefully we get a McDermott or we get Tomlin, someone who knows what they're doing. Okay. I want it to be the split because I don't want to see Geno Smith for the next 2 years quarterbacking this team. Please do not do this to this fan base. I don't want to see this guy quarterback for the next 2 years. I'd rather it do a split. Let him be the quarterback for 10 games and let Tai Simpson quarterback 7 games. And then if we win like 5 out of these games, fire this idiot, hire one of those 2 coaches and then get a competent coach here, because chances are, if we win 5 games, Jake, there's no way, even though we got 3 picks, nobody's giving us Arch. Anybody who's taking Arch first or second is not trading him to the Jets. Chances are we're not getting Arch. I mean, we might be able to get one of those other quarterbacks, but who's to say that those guys are better than Tai Simpson? We don't know. We really don't know. So I'd rather take my chances, get Tai Simpson this year, get Bailey. I want Bailey. I want a for sure pass rusher who's going to give me 13, 14 sacks a year, and go in that direction and give us fans some hopes. I mean, Neil feels the same way. Peter Castro feels the same way. Us OGs kind of feel that way. I'm kind of like sticking to that. I know you don't want him picked in the 16th pick overall. I get it. I'd rather him be picked a little later, but if there's a chance of us losing him, I'd rather pick him. That's my feeling on it. So I'm going to listen to you.
I just think there's a couple of things here, though. Like, it doesn't just need to be Arch next year. We didn't know who Fernando Mendoza was at this time right now. Like, things change. I think there'll be a better crop of quarterbacks just playing the odds. This year, there's only one consensus clear first-round guy. I think there'll be a plethora next year. Maybe not as many as some project, but I think certainly more than one or even two. And I just think if Aaron Glenn is on the hot seat, I don't want to give him a quarterback that's going to need to be coached up to truly hit his ceiling. And it kind of muddies the waters of, like, then you have a new coach that comes in, and what if they don't like Tai Simpson? They want to draft a different quarterback. Well, then you kind of burnt the 16th pick. I'd rather just build the roster up and then take my big swing on a quarterback, with the caveat being.
But you want to see 2 years of Geno Smith? Are you kidding me?
I want to see 1 year of Geno Smith.
Don't.
It would be 1 year. It'd be this season.
Or next year, if you're drafting someone else, he's probably not going to be ready day one. So you're probably going to see Geno Smith at least
For
a
part
half
of the
a
year,
year and a
maybe.
half.
Or maybe someone else. But again, I'd be open to taking Tai in the second round for what it's worth. But
Okay.
I don't know if Geno's going to be
That's
here
fine.
for
That's
another
fine.
season. And
I understand
who
your
cares?
concerns and why. I get it. I just don't want to miss out on Tai Simpson. I think we should draft him. I think he has the talent. I bought into what Joe Blewett said. I bought into what Orlasky said. I think he does have the talent. I think he was dealt a bad hand in the sense that, he unfortunately got injured. He lost over 20 pounds, especially in his hip area and stuff where he threw the ball. Also, his offensive line got hurt. Wide receivers that he threw to were hurt and dropping passes. So, yes, he looked great the first 6-7 games, but there is nuance to why he didn't look good the rest of the year. People are not pointing that out. I get it. He's only played 15 games. I understand your apprehension, but you know what? I don't want to miss out, because if this guy goes to another team and becomes a really good quarterback and we miss out, it's going to be the same old Jets. We're going to be hearing this for the rest of our lives.
Or they reach on him and he's bad, and it muddies the waters for potentially getting the guy long-term next year. You don't believe in Glenn, so why am I going to give him a quarterback?
No, I don't believe in Glenn.
So
Right.
that's the concern. If you give Tai Simpson to this coaching staff, are you just burning the pick if this coaching staff is not going to be here in 2027?
I think it's not going to matter, because I think the following year you'll have McDermott, or you'll have Tomlin, or hopefully you'll have someone competent like those types of guys who will be able to coach Simpson the right way. I don't think a half a year of coaching him up is going to destroy Simpson. I think he would be good the following year if we get competent coaches, and I'm willing to take that chance and that swing. It at least gives us some excitement. I'm not excited about seeing Geno Smith for a year and a half and hoping we get Arch when we win 5 games and Arch gets picked first, and we have no chance of getting Arch, because nobody's going to just take a bundle of picks and give us Arch. It's not happening.
Why do you think it's only Arch, though? That's your problem. It's not going to just be Arch.
I don't think the other guys are as good as Arch.
So you think it's going to be a one quarterback class next year? There's only one guy worth taking.
Dante Moore, okay, he might be a guy, but I don't know if you heard, that guy's going through mental depression and stuff. He's on medication now, I heard. So he's been having issues.
Rob, forget Dante Moore. How about the litany of other guys that could be potential options with a coaching staff that could pick their quarterback so they're aligned?
Okay, but let me ask you a question. Jake. Half of the litany of those guys that you're talking about also were projected to be good. Lenore Sellers, everyone's saying how good he was going to be. He stunk last year. Now he's right back into the draft. Who's to say that he's going to be good next year? How do we know if he's automatically going to be good? This other guy,
we don't.
CJ,
but what if you don't believe in Tai Simpson as a quarterback prospect? You just take him.
I do believe in him. I believe in him. I think
there's nothing wrong in it. It's like I believe in him. Let's just take him. I don't feel that strongly about him where I want to use the 16th pick on him. That's the difference. But you're not wrong if you're like, I think he's good. I want him. That's fine. We'll see. All that matters is how Darren Muji and the key members of the Jets, if they're aligned and feeling the way you do. If they do, they'll take him at 16.
Jake, don't get me wrong. I'd rather get him later. I get the apprehension on your part. I also would rather get him later. But I'm saying if there's a chance of missing out on him, no, I'd rather take him. And I think Cleveland is a team who could possibly take him. That's one of the teams I would mention.
It's all fair, Rob.
You don't think Cleveland would take him?
They might. I don't know. They drafted 2 quarterbacks last year. Like, they have a first-year coach. I don't think, like, Todd Monken's like, I need to take a quarterback now or else. They might not be looking at it that way. They do have 2 first-round picks. Pick 26 is the last one. Maybe he goes there. I do see a scenario where he's there at 33, though, and I'm willing to wait. And if he is, I'll take him. If not, okay, I'll get my guy the following year. I'll live with it.
Jake, if that's the case, then I want Bailey. I definitely want a wide receiver. If all those guys are gone, I would take that guy Cooper. Definitely take Cooper from Indiana. And then Simpson, I would be extremely happy with this draft. I'd be so happy. But that's what I'm looking for. But again, you know what they say about opinions.
Hey, if they take Ty, I'm going to root for him to be amazing because that's the bottom line.
That's all
now,
we can
Rob,
do, Jake.
I found what you sent me for the last round. We'll play you out properly here, and voting is underway.
Please, Asmaniacs, I know I'm going to lose, but please at least let me not go down in an embarrassing fashion. I'd like to get into at least the 40 percentile. This is for Jake and the Asmaniacs. J. E. T. T. S. S. Jets. 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 Go Jets. Go Jets. And vote for Rob the Jet fan. Go for Rob the Jet fan. Yay!
Rob, good call, man. No harm in losing to Kyle Clifton. He's the 1 seed for a reason. Kyle Clifton right now up 77-23, and we got a super chat from the Kyle Clifton. He's in the raffle for 4 more entries. Raffle's coming up. I'm going to get to it shortly. We got 3 signed items to give away, plus a jersey for anyone who entered during the show. Kyle asked why Juwan Jennings is still unsigned. Is it reputation? Is it price point? I saw reports that he was asking for more money than any team was willing to give him. He might be a guy that waits till after the draft, and any team that doesn't fill their wide receiver need would then sign him. And remember, after the draft, any free agent you sign does not factor into the comp pick formula. So he could be a guy that at this point, his agent's saying, look, let the draft go. Teams that don't get a receiver, they'll be more willing to sign you because you won't count against the compensation pick formula. And there could be more money for you if you wait. So that's my theory on why he's still out there. I do think he'll sign after the draft at this point. I'd be interested in him if I'm the Jets. Peg and Artie in the house. Big win for them yesterday in Asmaniac Madness. Is leader of Jets sprung. This dude was shadow realmed more than the guy in the Patriots jersey that came on. We have never seen anyone get holed the way LOJ, leader of Jets, was sent to the hole over the last 2 days. Incredible. Leader of Jets leading the league in appearances in the hole. I got time for one more call. We got the raffle coming up shortly here, so this is your last chance to enter that. Let's say hello to Paul Faz, who will close us out here on a Saturday soiree. What's up, Paul?
Going on, brother? Cleaning up, doing errands as always. Saturday's catch-up day, right?
That's right.
I liked Paul. He was I liked his style. He's a good dude. I like what he said about Muji. You know, I'm big with Muj. My my number one piece of the puzzle. Rob, the Jet fan, I wanted a quarterback too by my brother, and I've been saying we may have to get aggressive, but you know what? I'm going to just let these chips fall where they may. I'm at that point now where it's like I really just have to have faith that this rebuild will finally be a good rebuild, and that, you know, again, I don't worry about Aaron Glenn, and we can't sit there and even say that we're not going to want to see Geno Smith for 2 years. How do we know he doesn't look really good this year, right? We don't know. Right now, we did what we did. We took him for a reason, like we did last year, but that definitely didn't work out. Let's just hope it works out better and Geno Smith does better than what the hell we had last year. I still like the direction. I still like when Muji does. The thing with Muji with me that makes me feel comfortable with him, he doesn't seem lazy. He seems like very, very thorough, right? He could have went out and grabbed a couple people and spent some cap money and other things like that you know, to like, oh, look at me, right? But he didn't do any of that. And I think that's one of the things I like the most about him. He really does seem to have a focus and a consistent plan, right? And that's what we need. We need somebody that's going to consistently address everything. And he just seems very organized, you know, and he doesn't make rash decisions. And I do like what Paul said. In all fairness, it was his first year last year as the GM, right? I'm sure he learned from a couple of things. Maybe he did say, you know what, I got to do a little better later on in the draft. I need to focus on that more. And I do believe that management, right? And there's been a lot of people that have been in the Jets organization sitting in a chair for 10, 15 years that really shouldn't even have a job, right? In the upper office and shit. So, you know, let him get a chance to get his own people in play too. And, you know, maybe that's people that he looks at for certain draft decisions and things like that. So I just want to keep seeing improvement at this point. I just don't want another disaster. Like, I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, who would have thought we'd be rebuilding again before the start of last year? We didn't think that was going to happen, right? We thought we were going to pop a couple pieces to the pot, and next thing you know, it's a full-out rebuild again. Like, let's just get it right this time. I mean, that's where I'm at. Like, just please, can we get it right, please?
For the love of God.
Thanks, bro. We'll talk soon, man.
Paul, great call, man, and I love it. I love the passion. If you believe in Muji, then you got to let it play out. I do agree with that. If they take him at 16, that tells me they really think they got their guy. And it doesn't matter how we feel. It just matters how they feel. If they think they got their guy, you better be right. Because you can't just be like, well, we'll try again next year. Muji might not get that opportunity. I don't know if I'd want to give him that opportunity. You don't get multiple swings of this. They take him at 33. That's a different conversation than he kind of just fell into your lap. Shout out to Cynthia W. She is in the Asmaniac raffle coming up shortly here for one. Are we ready to raffle away 3 signed Jet items? I think the answer is clearly yes. Time to bring on the master of raffle ceremony.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That feels better. Oh, baby. All right, as they all say, Superman to the rescue. This is MacGyver for you, telling you, go get your Wheel of Champions today. Spin right now. Enjoy the day. Seize the day. Superman, away! Spin the Wheel of Champions. We're on our way gliding. Please help us glide. Help us glide.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
I don't even know what Beast was trying to do there, but I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wheel of Champions. And we're about to add a few last-minute names. Black Gypsy in for 1. Papa Jet in for 1. That is it. We are cut off.
Good job.
I typed their names in as the raffle intro was playing. Thank you to both Papa and Black Gypsy. They're the last two to enter. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wheel of Champions. 3 prizes to raffle away. The first one is a signed helmet by Breece Hall. The second one is a signed helmet by Darrelle Revis. And the grand prize is a signed Broadway Joe Namath helmet. Are we clear? The answer is yes, we are. And now it's time for the Wheel of Champions to be spun. And then for everyone who entered today, we will have a specific Jets jersey, Legends jersey giveaway as well. Here we go. Good luck to all. The winner of a Breece Hall signed helmet is Mike Perez. Mike, shout out to you. If you win a prize, make sure you send me an email, asmanjake@gmail.com, with your updated address so we know where to send it. Congrats to Mike, our first winner. Let's reshuffle the names. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our second prize now. It's a signed helmet by the greatest cornerback of all time, Darrelle Revis, Revis Island. Ladies and gentlemen, we spin again. The winner of a Revis helmet is Anthony Logerato. What a run Anthony's been on in the raffle wheel. Congratulations to Anthony. That means we have one more spin for the granddaddy of them all, folks. Broadway Joe Namath autographed helmet. Good luck to all. One last spin for the winner. And that winner is Andrew C. The Dream. Andrew C. The Dream has done it. He is the winner of the Broadway Joe Namath helmet. Hit the Jet Chat for all 3 of our great winners. Incredible. Now we have one last prize to give away. This is for anyone who entered during this show, a specific Saturday soiree raffle prize. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm currently repasting the names from the 23 entries on the Wheel of Champions. And since it is technically a separate raffle, let me bring on the master of raffle ceremony to send us back to the Wheel of Champions.
I'm putting icy hot on my back. This will take off the pain and the blemishes.
Hell, stop.
Who remembers this?
Monopoly?
This is the 1974 version.
That's fantastic. Can you send me to the Wheel of Champions again?
Oh, in the words of the great Parker Brothers, as Parker Brothers once said, let's go to the Wheel of Champions and go get ourselves a winner. Now, let's spin that wheel.
Let's pass go, collect 200, and spin the Wheel of Champions. Yeah.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
I don't know if the Parker brothers ever said that piece, but we will allow it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. This is for a Jets jersey. This is for everyone who entered during this Saturday show. If you win, email me, asmanjake@gmail.com. Name, address, size of the jersey, and obviously the player you want the jersey in. Good luck to all. The winner of a Jets Legends jersey is Papa Jet. I guarantee Papa Jet's going Joe Klecko. Ladies and gentlemen, Papa Jet, our final winner on the show today. Let's go. Hit the Jet chant. Congratulations to our winners. Again, Papa Jet with the Legend jersey, Andrew C., Broadway Joe helmet, Anthony L., the Revis helmet, Mike Perez, the Brees helmet. Thank you to everyone who entered all week long. Make sure you guys RSVP for the draft party if you haven't already. We will be back Monday morning for another show as the round of 32 will continue. But before we get out of here, the 1 versus 8 matchup was a blowout today in Asmaniac Madness. The first listener, the first Asmaniac to clinch a spot in the Sweet 16 is the Kyle Clifton. He advances to the next round. 77-23, the final score. The number 1 seed, Clifton, defeats Rob the Jet fan, the 8th seed, with 363 total votes that were cast. So congratulations to Kyle on being the first Asmaniac to advance to the Sweet 16. Again, Monday morning, it's Peter Castro and David T. Monday afternoon, it's the Lane Train against Ricky and Wise. We look ahead in Asmaniac Madness. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Saturday. And we will talk to you guys soon, unless there's breaking Jets news, which I guess you never know. Until then, JETS, 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 Jets. Love all of you. Go Jets.
Right.
JETS, 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 Jets.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go Jets.